Okay, good afternoon or good morning, everybody. This is Carolyn, Assistant Director at the Historical Museum at Fort Missoula. And I just wanted you to see I am practicing wearing a mask. And today we are going to talk a lot about volunteering and some of the volunteer projects that we've had going here prior to the start of COVID-19. So today we're going to start out in the basement of the museum. I'm going to turn my camera around and hopefully you can understand me with the mask on. We also will be visiting with one of our volunteers, Dawn, and she's going to show us a project that she's been working on in collections to organize the photos and posters, etc., that are in our photo morgue. So just to clarify, these photos are not part of collections per se. They've not been accessioned, meaning they've not been entered into our collection system, but they do exist to help out with exhibits and programming and just provide some of those really cool visuals that are all about Missoula history. So I'm going to turn the phone around, and I apologize. This is the first time I've done anything like this, so you got a newbie on your hands.
Well, that would make two newbies.
Okay, so maybe I can't turn it around. Oh, this will be great. What I wanted to do is introduce you to Dawn. She is one of our volunteers here, and she graciously, with another volunteer, Carol, agreed to take on this project of organizing photos. So just to give you a good sense of what these lovely volunteers are looking at, these are some of the photos, and I'm not going to call it disorganization.
No.
But what they've agreed to help us organize and put into some sort of system so that when we are doing exhibits or programming, we have some things to bring with us to help show people what history looked like. So I'll just do a scan here of our prop area, and then we're going to join Dawn over in the photo morgue. And Dawn and I are practicing safe social distancing, so I'm actually going to take down my mask, and Dawn is going to take down hers, but we are the requisite 6 feet apart, but we thought it might be easier to understand both of us without our masks on.
Exactly. And as Carolyn said, we are practicing our social distancing and everything. But I didn't want this whole, and neither did Carolyn, be one mumbled spiel. So as Carolyn showed you here, these are the photos they use in exhibits, and they take out actually a lot of times with fundraising projects like they did brew fests and things. So they take out all these kinds of photos, and like most people's private houses, you get strapped for time, you put things in a bundle, and you put it in a corner and think you'll deal with it later. So Carolyn had asked Carol, another volunteer, a very long-term volunteer with the Fort Museum, to come down and just help make some sense out of it. So we're just going to go back into what was called the photo morgue. I don't think it's that bad, but that's what they called it.
Well, or another name is Image Archives, so.
And what was fun is they had this huge printing press, this old, I think from the Missoulian, correct? Or I don't know.
I'm not sure.
But anyway, again, just like everybody's house, it got covered with photos that were waiting to be the exhibits to put back into the various categories. So we thought this was sort of fun. Carol and I were just poking around here. We thought it was sort of fun to take a look at all of these things. I mean, we take our phones, we can type messages on our phones in what, a minute, less than that? And to think about taking all this and typesetting it, we had a lot of fun while we were doing photos, just imagining how somebody would even do that, put all that together. But anyway, with the photos, the printing press and everything was just covered with bundles of these photos. And so Carol and I, we got out this table, we started pulling, a lot of it was already labeled. I do want to say, it wasn't like it was just mass chaos. A lot of this, as you can see right here, was already labeled. It really just a matter of taking photos that had been in collections or had been out in the out into the, what I want to say, community,
Mm-hmm.
and just putting them back so that Carolyn or whoever could come down and say, I need pictures of U of M houses, and be able to pull them off. So that really was the point Carol and I were working on. So we were just taking these photos and putting them back in categories. And, well, if you volunteer at the museum, chances are you're a history geek. And so, me being a history geek, and Carol too, we spent a lot of time just having fun looking at the photos and recognizing and learning about the history of Missoula we didn't know about. Like, there's been a stampede in the early 1900s. I know everybody that's lived in Missoula has probably seen, you know, a photo like this, but we have quite a few like this. But the other things that we've found were, you know, just pieces of history that we thought were fascinating. And these are just a few of the photos. I could spend an hour just pulling photos off, but everybody, I think, gets the point. So, and we just, everybody, I think, probably knows that lives in Missoula, knows about the fort and the black soldiers. But we didn't know a lot about the other cavalry, the white officer, or white that was here, and how the two meshed. The internment, of course, we learned more about that. So I would say it's been a wonderful project just because of my history-natured. I thought it was pretty cool. So I would definitely recommend that if you're thinking of a volunteer position, that the museum is a wonderful thing. And this is just one project. And I was glad, and Carol was too, that we could just help. Again, it was already organized. It just needed to put the other photos back. But you can just, I could, again, just pull all sorts of photos out. History of people, history of the houses. Everybody's heard of A.J. Gibson, but some of the other houses that are of historical value in Missoula that we drive by every day, like that. U of M takes up all this section with the sports. I mean, somewhere in this, and I didn't pull it out in head, is the football team with the old leather helmets and things of that nature. The first president's meeting, and it's this tiny little Victorian office with all these people crammed in it. So anyway, I don't know if there's any questions or anything. Carolyn, if there was something else that you'd sort of like to talk about?
Okay, so thank you, Jesse, for watching us. Jesse is out still socially isolating. Bill, hi, thanks for watching us. Longtime Missoulian. Yeah, any questions out there? Wow, I'm seeing 10 numbers up there. We are super popular.
Oh, yay! And see, we thought we'd have like one.
Yeah.
Probably Jesse.
We support our team members here at the museum. And like Dawn said, if you're interested in volunteering at the museum, we do have options available. We currently are planning to open the museum June 1st. That will be with some restrictions in place. And we were looking at having volunteers return sometime mid-July. We want to work through some of the glitches and just being in the museum and figuring out how this whole reopening process works. So looks like Jessie has a question for us. She's asking, what was your favorite photo group, Dawn?
I would have to say, and again, we are practicing our distancing. I would have to say, Jessie, that the thing that I loved the most, I mean, all of the history was fascinating, but most of us live in Missoula not because we love the recreational opportunities. And there were tons of photos of all sorts of things that were being done as far as fishing. There's people fly fishing in long dresses out on right near Lolo Hot Springs. And so I would say just looking at the hunting and some of the sporting pictures, hiking, picnicking. I know that sounds bizarre when I'm surrounded by so much history, but it was just fun to see how much that meant to people through the ages in this area of Montana. Apparently it was, you lived here, you took advantage of it, and that makes me happy because that's part of why I live in Montana.
Okay. So Jesse, thank you. You're really helping us out here. It says, can you show us a few? Oh, yeah. Let me read the question. So, she would like to see a few of the close-up images. So, are there a couple that you want to pick out that we can hold up for folks? And again, thank you for being patient with our rudimentary filming style here.
Yes.
Dawn and I are newbies, and neither
We're
one of
not
us has
Facebooks.
ever done anything like this, so you are all of our guinea pigs. But
And that's exactly it. And of course, now that she's asked for some photos, at least for the recreational category, I think that's one that we moved out
okay.
there because we're still working on it. Our project got interrupted because the pandemic occurred pretty much right in the middle of when Carol and I were doing this. But you know, I was going to say I'm trying to pick something that maybe people haven't seen before, because we have like a whole like railroads.
Okay.
Now this maybe goes with one of the things.
Sorry, folks. Am I getting it done?
I think so. Let me just move that.
Okay.
You can see that this is the
Would this be a
logging.
log jammer?
Yep, the log jammer. And I'm going to bring this up because I know the museum is trying to restore the timberjack that was part of our logging heritage. I believe that was part of it.
Willamette number 7.
Willamette number 7.
Timberjack was the movie made about using that engine.
Okay, so it's the Willamette, not the movie on that. But there was just some really nice, you know, when the depot was actually a train station instead of an office building, like it is now. And I was going to say, there also, how many remember that the Boone and Crockett, what is currently the Boone and Crockett Club, also, of course, was a railway station way back in the early parts.
Okay.
I was going to say. It looks like it was 1910. But
Okay.
now, for those of you who don't know, the Boone and Crockett Club is an international hunting registry. And I'm sure I have that a little bit wrong, but they keep track of the largest animals and trophy hunts, basically. More than that, but that's part of it.
Okay, so it looks like we have a question here from Joan Kuhn. What were the first forestry area items? Just the sawmill? Are those pictures of the outside buildings too? So, let's see. Forestry area.
Well, we have, this is sort of our,
Okay.
again, you have to remember this project got interrupted, so we're not quite where we want to be on the organization. But
Here's some timber and logging stuff.
yeah,
right over
we
here
had a
behind you,
ton of
so-
timber and logging. And it's from all over the United States. A lot of it is from Missoula, but there is quite a bit. And I'm not sure about the understanding the buildings, but you know, there's kinds of.
So, are
like
you looking, Joan, for some photos of the forestry in this area? I don't know. Can I ask you questions out there? Oh my God, we're up to 12. Wow.
Hey, we doubled what we thought we'd be. Seriously,
Okay,
we thought we'd have like 2 people. So, well, I was gonna say I'm trying to find more that are specific
Okay.
to our area.
Okay,
and
that's Bonner. That's
this
Bonner.
is Anaconda. Yep, that's the Bonner.
Why don't we
now.
hold that up again and we'll go a little bit slower? Just
Sorry,
no,
this
that's
is Bonner.
okay. Is it? So if you look in here, is it showing up on
Yep.
the? Okay.
Yep. I
Perfect.
think you got it there.
Okay.
So
All right.
there. Yep.
Yep. The suggestions are great.
Yes, we do appreciate that.
Okay.
Just bear in mind, this is, as I said, is still a work in progress. Was there another?
Okay.
I'm not
let's
sure
see.
we got that question answered really.
Yeah. Are there plans of the outside buildings too?
Outside buildings. I'd have to look a little bit further for
Oh,
that. but-
so for stuff here on the grounds, maybe. Okay.
Oh, yeah. That's, well, we have.
Oh,
quite-
here's Fort Missoula right down here.
Yeah, it's
so,
Fort Missoula. Here's some of the grounds.
I think right down in here.
Okay.
So,
We'll just dig these out a little bit. That's the church. Before it was moved, I think. Here, let me just grab some of these out, and we'll just take a quick look. that's a more recent. Here, I'm just going to sort through these fairly quickly and just see if there's...
Inside of the schoolhouse, I know Christiana did some video work there a few weeks ago.
And here, actually.
Yep, the fort grounds. I don't have a year on that. Maybe there's one on the back, Dawn. I don't know.
Circa 1915, okay. Officers' quarters. Yep, like that. And
let's see.
There's quite a few. It looks a little different than it does nowadays, right? Because it was in this part of the parade grounds right in here too.
Yeah, there's so many photos, and it's interesting. If you,
I'm just going to see if we have some more. I'll just grab out of it. It seems like I'm getting the weird ones here, but...
Oh, no. Okay, so that's the magazine over next to the river. So recently, the Rocky Mountain Museum of Military History has done a fabulous job restoring this and providing some interpretive material for folks visiting the grounds. So this is one of the original buildings for the fort.
Perfect.
So.
Okay, and we have what's now... Here is what... And this is part, actually, of the military museum now, isn't it? Or no?
I'm not sure. I know it's here, but where's the question?
Side.
Okay.
This is the backside of the...
Okay. All right.
Fun stuff.
All right. So, let's see.
Is there another question? I heard something ding there.
Oh, I think that was a notification from something else on my phone. So, Joan asked again, on the fort property, my husband Scott, yes, restores it all back there. Just wondering what was original. So...
Oh,
yeah. So, the U of M Forestry Club has a yard where they do a lot of their competition during Forestry Day and working on it throughout the year. And Scott Keene does an awesome job of keeping that place organized and interesting. So we're just trying to look for some
I'm trying
photos.
to see if we have a photo of that one. Up there, but I'm not seeing it right off the top here.
Okay.
That particular thing. So it's probably here, but we just haven't quite got to that point yet. You know, so yeah.
Well, let's just we'll just kind of do a quick scan around here of the different categories, and you can all get a sense of what these volunteers have been doing, working down here to bring some much needed organization. As you can imagine, organization is really needed in a museum. We need to keep track of where everything is so that we can go back to it when we need to. Donors come in asking to, see things they've donated. And again, this is not collections. These are used in collection or in exhibits, but not part of collections. So I think Dawn is valiantly trying to find photos for folks.
But not quite that area. It's just what we have right now just shows it as a blank field at the moment. What I'm finding in here.
Okay.
And stuff. So.
All right.
Maybe next time I'll be looking for it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us today, folks. We really appreciate you tuning in to catch Facebook Live and finding out a little bit about volunteering here at the fort. If you're interested, you can call me. I'm Carolyn, 258-3478, and we can talk about some possible opportunities here. Of course, with the COVID-19 pandemic, we've had to reevaluate how we conduct operations, and we want to make sure that we have a really safe working environment for volunteers, employees, and also the folks who come to visit. So thank you so much for visiting with us today, and thank you, Dawn.
My pleasure.
We really couldn't do the museum without our volunteers, and people like Dawn make it possible and make it a really fun job to come to.
Well, I was going to say, and it's an awesome place. Everybody I've met here is just wonderful. So if you're looking to volunteer, this is the place. I highly recommend it.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.